My name's Shawn Patterson. I was born in a small town outside of Buffalo, New York. Upon graduating from high school, I joined the United States Army, where I served for 3 years. Following my service in the military, I joined the Mesa Police Force, and right now we are at the Mesa Police Academy, where I work as a training officer. So I decided to come up with this challenge ever since I lost my two friends, Tyler Holtz and Ricardo Sirius. They were killed in action in 2011. So for the last dozen years or so, I've been trying to find a way to honor them. And then this past spring is where the idea of hiking from Tyler's hometown of Dana Point, California to Ricardo's hometown of Salinas, California came to mind. So I first came into contact with Legacies Alive in 2014 when Mike Vitti was doing his challenge of walking across the country. So I joined him and Alex Larson for a small portion of that hike, and I sort of fell in love with their mission and their dedication to Gold Star families ever since. And then when I decided to come up with this challenge, that's when I reached out to the president of Legacies Alive, Mark Waldowski, who I also served with, and told him about my idea. First time I met Tyler, we called him the Incredible Holtz. He was just a larger-than-life personality character, and he really sort of took me under his wing. He was a sergeant, I was a new private. I wasn't even on his squad. He didn't really even need to be nice to me, but for some reason he was, so that's what stuck with me. As far as Ricardo goes, it was his smile. It was contagious. No matter how hard training was or no matter how many hours we stayed up, he always had a smile. Almost annoyingly smile, because the rest of us would be pissed off, but he would just be happy to be there and be happy to be doing his job. You know, my mission is to, at least for a weekend, if not a month or a year, for everybody to know the name Ricardo Sirius Jr. and know his story, because a dozen years later, it still sits with me. So I think if they knew truly how much of a hero he and Tyler were, they would think about a little differently on the sacrifices that they made. Ricardo Sirius was faced with a decision. We already had some wounded. This was 2011 in Afghanistan, and he was providing cover for a wounded platoon sergeant. And unfortunately, an enemy grenade came out of the compound, and Ricardo had to make a quick decision as to whether he was going to run or he was going to protect his brothers in arms. And I'm sure it wasn't an easy decision, or it wasn't an easy task for him, but he chose to shield his wounded platoon sergeant, taking the full brunt of the grenade. So just that sacrifice is my main motivation and dedication for doing this challenge, and I wanted to make it hard for that reason. As far as the story goes on Tyler, he actually wrote a letter home to his mother explaining like why he joined the military, and it was, you know, if something happens to me, this is why I joined. He was encouraged to join the Army after 9/11 because he didn't want to see another terrorist attack on American soil. So I don't think it's any surprise that there really hasn't been a terrorist attack of the scale of 9/11 since we've gone to Iraq or Afghanistan. So I think it's important the sacrifices they made. And Tyler understood the mission that he had, and he was so dedicated to it that he was willing to lay down his life. I would just say ever since Tyler and Ricardo left this earth way too early and were killed in action, I've always been inspired to live each day and be happy and do my best each day and never complain about the little things. And both Tyler and Ricardo's sacrifices obviously stuck with me for 12 years and were my main motivation for choosing to do this challenge. And also make it as personal as it is. I could have gone from any city, but I chose Tyler's hometown and I chose Ricardo's hometown for a reason. So I think it's important that everybody in their hometowns know the kind of men they were and the sacrifices that they made.
I think it's great. Ever since I've known him, he's tried to honor both Tyler and Ricardo. So when he came up with the idea and he told me about it, I told him go for it. I support him. Seeing how much they meant to Shawn, just seeing how much he honors them. Every time I play with Layla in her playroom, you know, I see their picture and I just think about them. Like I said, I didn't get the chance to meet them, but they're in my mind, they're present there. And I know our kids, our future kids as well, we're gonna make sure that they know who they were and they know what Dad's doing. I mean, a lot of people don't know this. I'm sure everyone he encounters know this, but he's very giving and he's a very nice person. Not saying just because he's my husband, but he's a lot nicer than I am. But I hope if he's ever running out of water or if he's struggling, I hope they help him, and I hope they see what a big sacrifice this is for him and for us. They see that, and if he does need help, they're willing to lend a hand or just support him. Since I won't be there to do it, to help him.
What would you want to say to him? Like anything encouraging?
I will say you're doing this for a good cause. This is for your friends. Just remember that. And we're always going to be there for you to support you. So just keep going. And we'll be always praying for you that you make it to the end.